Now let us see a very funny incident from his school life. Once, one of his headmaster called Albert Einstein's father and told him directly that it is not a matter of worrying that any subject Einstein select as his profession, because he is not going to be a successful person in his life. Let him select any profession, he is not going to become a successful person in his life. He was very serious while telling to his father, but I call, or we can say it as a funny, because we know what happened with Albert Einstein in the later life. And Einstein started to learn violin even from the age of 6, because his mother wanted him to do so. And he started learning and he became a professional violinist, a gifted amateur violinist. And he kept this rare quality throughout the entire life. He was an amateur or gifted violinist throughout his life. We cannot say that Einstein was a bad student in the school from the previous example. Einstein was really a good student in academic subjects. We know it from his records or marks. While he was studying in high school, he scored good mark in almost every subjects. But the only thing Einstein didn't like was the regimentations of the school. In simple sentence, the strict rules and regulations or disciplines of the school made him so stifled. So it made him always clash with even his teachers. He didn't want to live inside a frame rules and regulations. He wanted to be a free man. He wanted to live a free life of his own. And finally, at the age of 15, as a result, he had to leave the school. And after a prolonged discussion with his parents and relatives and guardians, he got the permission or consent to continue his studies somewhere else, in German-speaking Switzerland, a city which was more liberal than his previous school. So he went into the new area and he started his schooling there as a free bird or as a free man. And after completing his school studies, he decided to study in University of Zurich. So he went to Zurich, another city in Switzerland itself, where freedom was an important part of his life. And we know Einstein was a gifted man in the subject of mathematics, and he was very interested in physics also. But he was not going to stop only with these two subjects. This dashing-looked young man with a walrus-shaped moustache liked in many other subjects like arts, literature, and even romance. So now we are going to see about this in detail in the coming paragraphs. So when we read this given paragraph, we come to see that, and during his college studies, Einstein felt a special interest in one of his fellow students called Mileva Maric. Mileva Maric, who came from Serbia, because the university in Zurich was one of the rare universities in Europe where women could get higher education easily. So this girl, Mileva, came from Serbia to Zurich for higher education. Just like Einstein, she was also a very clever creature. And more than that, Einstein's and Mileva's interests were also same. Like Einstein was much interested in extracurricular subjects like arts, literature, music, and so on. But his family members and university professors were all against him. But Mileva, who had the same interest, started to support him. So gradually, automatically, they both became close friends. And on the course of time, gradually, they both fell in love too. And we can see, even in their romantic letters, they were using scientific words for exchanging their love, affection, and tenderness to each other. That were the dedications of Einstein and Mileva. And years after, in 1900, at the age of 21st, he became a university graduate, but an unemployed person. So he started working as a teaching assistant and started to give private lessons for students. And finally, he secured a permanent job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern, where he was supposed to inspect and check the inventions of other people. But at the same time, he was also doing his own private investigations in physics subject. He was secretly developing his ideas, his theories on physics. So, jokingly, he himself called the desk drawer at the patent office as the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Here, Bureau means the Office of Theoretical Physics. Einstein was jokingly called his own desk drawer at the patent office as the Office of Theoretical Physics, because where he was developing his own private theories and ideas on physics and relativity and so on. And later in 1905, he published a special theory on relativity, according to this theory of relativity of 1905 published by Albert Einstein, time and distance are not absolute things. Formerly, people were considering that time and distance are absolute things. But according to this new theory, Einstein proved that time and distance are not absolute. They are also dependent on something else. So in order to make the common people understand it, the relativity of time, Einstein is giving us a very good or very easy example. That is, when you are sitting with a nice or beautiful girl and talking for 2 hours continuously, even after these 2 hours, you may felt only just 2 minutes has passed. But at the same time, suppose if you are sitting on a hot stove for 2 seconds or 2 minutes, you may be thinking like you are there for more than 2 hours. That is the simpleness of Einstein. He can explain very hard and complicated things in very simple way.